Good evening, everyone. This is Pastor Cam. Welcome for another session of The Upside. I try to come to you every Wednesday, to give you a word of encouragement to help you make it through the rest of the week, get you over that hump, because it's hump day, right? And so today, the nation is mourning of the loss of just so many people who have touched our hearts. But today, I want to look at the great Reverend Jesse Jackson in his passing on today, February 17, 2026. And so, my word today I want to use is legacy. Legacy. And so, that's the word I want to talk about today is legacy. Because I think he has left such a legacy here in this nation. And I just think it's important to talk about legacy and what that looks like for us. And so when we look to define legacy, a couple of definitions. One is the long lasting impact of a particular event, action that took place in the past or a person's life, or the amount of property left to someone in a will. Um, legacy. And so we also think about legacy when we think about our loved ones, our children, when we want to leave a legacy, leave something for them to hold on to. Legacy. And then when I look at legacy biblically, in that context, it said refers to enduring generational transfer of faith or righteousness and wisdom, rather it be merely material inheritance or whatever that may be, but it's the transfer. I love the way it says this, the generational transfer of faith, righteousness, and wisdom. I can just go with that alone. And we have Proverbs that gives us a lot. Deuteronomy 6:5-7 gives us something. 2 Timothy 2 gives us a couple of words. But just in that general context of legacy, the generational transfer of some things, right? I think that's important to just sit there and hold that for a second, because what we understand about legacy is the transferring of something. And so we always want to say we want to leave a legacy. As African Americans, because we're right in February, we could talk about it. We like to leave a legacy. We've been taught about a legacy. Our children are our legacy. And so we talk about a legacy. We talk about leaving a legacy. And so it's important for us to think that legacy is not always about leaving a wealth of money, materialistic things. That's good. I'm not against that. But I also want to make sure that we are also leaving a legacy of wisdom, of faith, of righteousness and justice, and love. And so hopefully we're teaching how do we live that legacy of that for our children and the generations to come, our children's children, and then the next generations to come. When they look at our generation or our parents' generation, where is the legacy falling? And so I want us to be mindful that when we leave this space of earth, that we are leaving some legacy of who we are. And so I'm hoping that people would say that, I was good people, that I had a righteous life, that I loved and I was generous and I loved the Lord Jesus, and I had a good faith, So I want people to know that if nothing else, this is what they take from me. This is what I offered for the people, and this is what they will remember me by, and use that to walk in such a way. So I just think that's just super important, that when we think about what our life looks like, it should be a legacy. When I think about Reverend Jesse Jackson, it's a legacy of justice work he's done, from walking in the civil rights, walking with the Black Panther, to developing PUSH, and to continue the walk. It's something. Like I said, Reverend Jesse has touched my family personally and deeply. If we remember back in 1976 when he went to Iran to get a group of African American Army cadets, generals, whoever they were, my cousin was one of them. My first cousin was one of them. And to see my family on the news, happy to see my cousin come back from Iran, not hurt, no harm offered, because Jesse Jackson went over there and got them, made the deal, made it happen. forever monumental in my life. Forever. I don't care what he's done. He did that, and that's well enough. And so I think when we talk about legacy, that's a legacy that touched my family personally. The legacy of Operation Push that still goes on for up and coming pastors, up and coming grassroots organization, Justin's work, political work. They all run through there. They all walk through there because that's where the people are. And so when you think about a legacy, we think about what we're leaving to our generation. What are we transferring over to them? What are we giving them? What are we leaving them? I mean, it's good to leave something materialistic, or a house, a car, or insurance policy, whatever. But I also want to make sure that we are leaving and transferring some wisdom, some faith, some righteousness, some justice work. That we are leaving that kind of legacy. As an African American people, that's the legacy in which we all stand on. That's the legacy that keeps us awake, that keeps us safe. That's the legacy that we stand on. So I'm hoping and I'm praying that each and every one of us, as we are living our life, that we're hoping to leave a legacy of our life for the next generation. The people to see us and say, I want to take pieces of them with me. I like what they said. I like how they move. I like what they're doing. And so they're taking pieces of us, the legacy that we're supposed to be dropping and leaving for the next generation. If we know the biblical story, as they transferred to land, they left the stones to remind the people from whence we come from. It's always something to remember from least we come from to where we're going. That's the legacy. Reverend Jackson has left a legacy, and we are also grateful for it. There are millions others that have left legacies that we still stand, whose names we mention every Black History Month, every time in January. There are names that we list. There are people that we lift up that remind us every day that we could keep doing the work. They transfer the power, they transfer their presence, they transfer their God to us. Legacy. That's what it's all about. And so, my word for this week is legacy. I'm praying that each and every one of us is leaving a legacy of something with the next generations to come. Be encouraged, be empowered. God bless you.